Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Happy Monday. Happy Black History Month. Right on. Did you all see Soul of the Nation, Blacks in Las Vegas? I guess I left too soon. Huh. But anyway, the Oscars. Okay. I talk about all these different things that have just happened over the last few days, and we're getting ready for Super Bowl to come up next week. But the Grammys, I said the Oscars, the Grammys. New Artist of the Year. Her name is Samara Joy. If this girl didn't bring me some Ella Fitzgerald, I'll just shut up. Beautiful. Grammys were really good last night. I enjoyed them. And naturally, see, I love Trevor Noah. Trevor's coming to Louisville on Friday and Saturday of this month. I'm going to stand outside and holler at him because them tickets are ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. But I'm here today, and we have a special guest, naturally, for our dinner conversation on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So go get your little libation, sit down, relax, and catch up on what's going on with the CEO and president of MSD, Mr. Tony Parrott. Wait a minute, come on now. Welcome, Mr. Parrott. How are you?
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Thank you for having me today.
Well, I'm glad to have you because you've been around for a minute here, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am. I've been in Louisville now for 7.5 years.
Wow. And you came here from where?
I came here from Cincinnati.
Oh, you just up the road.
It's up the road, right?
We were neighbors already.
Right.
So you fit right in. It didn't take you long to get adjusted to Louisville, I'm sure.
No, actually, truth be told, I was actually born and raised in Kentucky. I grew up down in Marion County, Lebanon, Kentucky.
Okay.
And once I got out of college, my wife was from Ohio, and so I spent the first 20 years of my career in Ohio.
Okay.
And when the opportunity came for me to come back to Kentucky, I jumped at it. And like I said, I've been in Louisville for 7.5 years.
Wow. Well, we're glad to have you because you, I look at you and I think that you were one of the first of this elite group of CEOs and presidents that we have in our city now. And we're going to talk about that. But you were one of the first. You got here before everybody else to lead up a major corporation in our city.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've done some things. I mean, even I have to thank you for the new court down at Shawnee Park for the Dirt Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, because that was a big deal. That was a big deal for us. We were kind of thrown off by when you had to put the infrastructure, the basin in the park. You know, it kind of threw us off on our juice bowl and
right.
You know, but all that's back now.
Right.
And that did something that keeps the homes in the West from flooding. Is that correct?
It actually serves as twofold. One, it helps with minimizing flooding, but it also allows us to not have as much overflows from the sewer system during a rain event. Before we put that basin in, we would have tens of millions of gallons of overflow that would come out of the sewer and go into the Ohio River directly.
Okay.
So we were actually required by the EPA to try to reduce the amount of overflows from the sewer system.
Okay.
So that basin in Shawnee, how does it look today? You don't even know it's there, right?
No, you don't know it's there. You know, it's change. Sometimes change is difficult.
Yes, ma'am.
And especially when you don't know the end result.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if you don't understand the whole process of why
Right.
you all had to do that,
Right.
because at that time I was living down on 47th Street,
Right.
and it was like, so why they have to dig it up in our neighborhood,
Right. Right.
in our park, because that's one of our
Right.
feature parks in the community.
Yes. Well, a lot of the sewer system in Louisville is very old,
Old, yes.
and it is very large. Most of the sewers, particularly those inside of the Waterson, date back to like the 1800s,
Oh wow.
and they were sized to take on flow from homes and businesses, but also to take on stormwater. So you've got a combined sewer system inside the 264 loop.
Okay.
Uh, and those pipes were sized so that things could go before wastewater treatment. Before the 1940s, we didn't even have a treatment plant in Louisville. Everything went straight to the river.
Wow. Get out
Right.
of here.
Right. So Morris Foreman, which is the oldest or the largest treatment plant in the state of Kentucky,
Hmm.
was built back in the 1940s.
Okay.
And so all the pipes that you mentioned that are, coming that way, they're flowing toward the river, and they were sized that way. And so when we talk about those basins like in Shawnee, we had to put the basin in Shawnee because that's where some of the largest pipes were built going out to the Ohio River.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So it was just you matched them up where the biggest ones were.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am. Yeah.
So you don't get many complaints from the community about when we have the rainfalls and all of that.
Well, we don't we don't have a lot of complaints about rain. Uh, we have just completed another very large project along the Ohio River, which was a deep tunnel project, and we just finished that up in last fall.
Right.
And
That's
so a
the
lot
one
of the
over at the end of 8th or 9th Street somewhere over
yes,
there. Okay, the
yes,
wall,
right,
where the
and
wall was.
and we had about 7 acres there that we're gonna we transferred that to Waterfront Park, and they're going to extend the park down beyond the 8th and 9th Street divide
Right.
there
Right.
along the river. So we had another large basin that we did in Portland, in
Okay.
the Portland neighborhood, and all of those combined reduce the overflows out of the sewer system. So you've got a cleaner environment, and then you've also got the ability for us to get more flow to the treatment plant to actually get it treated. We estimate that all the work that we've done is going to reduce overflows directly into the river by over 500 million gallons a year.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you say that we didn't even have a treatment plant since way back in 1940, and they used to talk about Louisville had good drinking water.
Right.
Still to this day,
Right.
our drinking water is supposed to be par none, right?
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah.
Still?
Well, fortunately, Louisville does have great drinking water and great drinking water treatment system, and just like the one they had in Cincinnati and also the one here in Louisville,
Hmm.
they were necessary because of a lot of the cities along the Ohio River were discharging directly into the Ohio
Into the
River
river. Okay.
before treatment. So you because of that, you had to have state of the art drinking water treatment systems to be able to safely provide drinking water to your community. And I would say that Louisville water is probably one of the best uh, tasting waters from a public entity in the nation. I think they've won national awards for that. So, but regulations change every year, and
Hmm.
Louisville Water does a good job of staying on top of that. Plus, they just finished replacing a lot of the lead pipes that are in our city to residential homes. So we are years and years ahead of other cities across America in terms of dealing with lead pipes.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah,
Because that whole thing, when I think about Flint and I think about Mississippi,
right.
you know, uh,
Yeah,
I'm shocked that they haven't tried to farm you out to go to Mississippi to fix that one because that's a big one.
well, the phone does ring.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure it
yes.
does.
But
Yeah,
we
that's
as
oh.
far as at MSD, you mentioned the Shawnee Basin.
Hmm.
Uh, One of the things that I'm most proud of there's actually a lot of things I'm proud of, but there's two major things that I'm proud of since I've been here. And one is um, making sure that all the capital improvement projects that we are doing in Louisville, and particularly in West Louisville, we started a program called Community Benefits.
Okay.
And when we bid a project, contractors are required to commit to either support a nonprofit in the community or to support school systems
Okay.
or to build an entity or build um, an amenity that's going to leave something in the community that we're doing work in. And
Right.
if you recall at Shawnee Park with the canopy or whatever, I forget what it's called down there, we also built, in addition to the basketball courts, we did
The
uh,
the
the
shelter
shelter,
house,
the shelter house. Yes.
and you
That,
put some bathrooms on the
yes.
side where the basin is.
Yeah, we put bathrooms in, and then we also worked on the boat ramp, the boat dock down
The
there as
boat dock
well.
with
So
Sherry Hamilton. Yeah.
yeah, Sherry Hamilton was very involved. So every project that we do, we've brought in a community benefits piece, and there's been a lot of support of school systems. Most of the principals and the school teachers that we talk to are just so excited about our contractors giving back to the community. And then we have a lot of nonprofits that have benefited from the community benefits program as well. And so basically, what that does is that program has been very successful, and now you have a model that now we see other cities adopting. And basically, what that allows you to do is if there's going to be large investment in the communities,
Right.
we are saying no longer are we just going to not let folks come in and not reinvest into the Black community. So there's going to be a certain percentage of investment in the Black community, whether it's in education, whether it's in recreation, or something of that nature. We Good example also of our program is we just completed a lot of work over in the Maple Street area.
Okay, like 23rd and 24th or
Yes,
something. Now
right. Where we
explain what was there, why it flooded so. Because my uncle had a home there,
Yes,
and they bought his home.
right. Well, the Maple Street area back in 2009, if folks remember, we got approximately uh, I think it was approximately 7 inches of rain in less than 1 hour.
Hmm.
And the sewers, even though they're large pipes in that area, it wasn't big enough to deal with Mother Nature. So it was just a deluge of rain that happened. And so what basically happens is when you have 7 or 8 inches in an hour, it can't get into the sewer.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it flooded that area. And because of that, we applied for a grant through FEMA.
Okay.
And we were able to negotiate with 90% of the property owners and move them out of a floodway.
Right.
So we got a grant. We acquired those properties, and the majority of them were relocated.
Right.
But we had to demolish those properties, and we ended up with about 20 acres of green space.
Wow.
And we have now donated that green space to the Parks Alliance. So there's going to be a new park in the Maple Street neighborhood there, about 20 acres of green space. So we're very proud of that as well.
So now, so is it didn't have anything to do with supposedly these barrels that were buried under the soil over there?
No, had nothing to do with that. The
that's just talk on the
yeah,
street. Well,
no,
that's where
no,
the old distilleries,
right.
when they stopped.
Now this was all about a 7-inch rain event in less than an hour, and the water couldn't get into the system.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
that area really doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, the fact that we were able to get the FEMA grant,
Right,
and the fact that we were able to uh, acquire all of the existing dwellings or
right.
houses,
Hmm.
they can't be rebuilt. So that's why you have a green space.
Okay,
And
okay.
if it ever does flood again, you're really only, impacting uh, green space or grass.
Grass. Yeah,
You're not impacting people's homes.
right,
Yeah.
right. So one of the other things I wanted to mention, I know um, that we've got the issues with our youth in the community and the violence that's going on.
Right.
And I know for a fact that MSD is one of the highest paying places to work in our city.
Yeah.
It used to, I mean, you got your Ford and your GE, um, but MSD is also one of those places, especially for maybe say kids that don't go to college.
Right.
Is there some kind of program that you all present to the community try to get them to come over and learn a skill?
Yes. There's a couple things. One is um, we have a summer works program uh, that's through the mayor's office where we
Okay,
take on students during the summer to
okay,
expose them to what we do at MSD and a career path that we have at MSD. They can, um, excuse me for a sec, they can work for 8 to 10 weeks during the summer.
okay,
And whatever their interest is, they can work in our lab, they can work in our engineering, they can work in our accounting, they can work in the field if they want to learn how the system works or taking samples or whatever. So there's a lot of different career paths that they can
mhm,
get exposed to. Secondly, we also have what we call a apprenticeship program,
okay,
and we started this since I came here. Um, and so we have folks can have an opportunity, to your point, if they don't want to go to college, they can go to JCTC, and we work with JCTC to get folks into like a maintenance mechanic program or a
okay,
maintenance
okay,
welding program. And there's like a 3-year apprentice program. And then they go to school and also work to become an apprentice. And once they complete that program, they would be hired on full time at MSD. So,
okay.
so that's a good way to do it. The other way
How
we're
does it
doing,
work? Have they been utilizing that program?
we also have this is the third year that we're going into. So
Mhm.
we've actually hired approximately 8 to 10 folks through the apprenticeship program.
Okay,
We also partner with the Urban League.
okay,
They have a uh, construction program where they train folks how to get the skill sets to work either for a contractor or work in the construction field. And through Kentuckiana Works and the Urban League, we sponsor that program. We're one of the sponsors of that program, and we also try to uh, get some of those folks into interview process, directly once they complete that with MSD or with some of our contractors.
okay,
Mhm.
okay. Well, that's a good thing because I just know that that's a place that they could go. I'm sitting up here
Yes.
having a MSD retiree look at me in my face
Mhm.
because I know my husband
Oh yeah.
retired from MSD. Yes,
Okay. Great. Great.
Pastor
We-
Jack Miller, and
Yes.
I know that we talk about what's going on in the community and
Yes.
especially with our youth. And I was wondering if MSD had a program like that, but that's
Yes,
good to
ma'am.
know.
The other
So
thing,
how does the community know about that program?
well, uh, the Urban League program is very well
Okay.
known. The Kentuckiana Works program is very well known.
Right.
But we, as ourselves, we have now just started advertising um, when we have our outreach programs every year. We have at least 3 major outreach programs that we try to engage with the community and also engage with small businesses and minority owned businesses and women owned businesses.
Okay.
And we're introducing our apprenticeship program there. We're working within the school districts,
Okay.
JCPS and JCTC, to get the word out about the apprenticeship program as well. Um, we have so many career paths for students, and like I said, you don't need a college degree to work for MSD, and that's the beauty of it, is because of the size of our operation and all of the things that we have to do over the next 20 to 30 years. You can come to MSD and you can spend a career, uh, 25
Moving up the
years
ladder.
and work your way up and learn
Right.
and go back to school. We have a tuition reimbursement program
Okay.
that students can take advantage of as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. So tell me, so you all merged with the water company.
We have a program where it's called the One Water Partnership.
Okay.
And what we did there was we looked at shared services between MSD and the water company so that we could, through economies of scale, for example, we could get things cheaper, like through our vehicle program. We have like shared management over our fleet.
Okay.
And then we also have uh, things that we work on through the billing system. The Louisville Water Company does the billing for MSD, and we are also working together to figure out how we can provide billing services to other cities together. We are also partners in what I would call economic development. Bourbon is a big deal around here in this part of the state. So there's a lot of areas where they need water. There's a lot of areas where they need sewer. So we're partnering on economic development with the water company. We have not fully merged our companies because of
Okay.
restrictions in state law that won't allow that to happen.
It would be kind of like you setting up a monopoly.
Well, it's something like that, but uh, MSD is established through state legislation,
Okay.
whereas the water company has a very unique business model where the city actually owns the water company, and it's a very unique governance. And so, long story short, we are partners, but we have not merged as one entity.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you remember when I approached you at the mayor's farewell going away party.
Yes, ma'am.
And I spoke to you and I said that this is a real interesting time in Louisville, that we have more African Americans as CEOs and presidents of major organizations in this city for the first time in my lifetime that I've known of. When you have over 2, So what do you think about the fact, this is my take on it, that's the basis or the core for a think tank?
Yes.
That you all are in those positions of leadership and power in the city to kind of make sure that that the governance and the government of the city
Right.
stays in line with you all's missions for each of your organizations.
Right.
And when it comes up where there are things that have to do with the community, there should be, I think, some kind of way that y'all need to have little get-togethers every now and
Right.
then to say, this is what you all foresee for the community, because sometimes we need guidance. You
Yes.
know, I think our whole race has been at a disadvantage at the loss of Dr. King,
Right.
but it was also an opportunity for other people to step up into roles bigger and better than he dreamed of,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
what he dreamed of for us.
Yes, ma'am.
And I see that. I've always said that when I moved back here, that I thought Louisville could really be progressive,
Hmm.
that we could really be a progressive city if we functioned in that way. I was on my way to DC, or say Maryland, when I
Yes.
came home. I had to look
Mhm.
after mama, so she got precedent.
Yeah.
But the way that they work with each other on the East, in Maryland specifically, I see Louisville being able to do have that same kind of um, togetherness and progressive thinking, forward thinking, as a group, and not the where. And you've been here long enough. I know we got the clicks,
Right.
but you all you all have to be the click.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? How do you see that you all in those positions making the difference in our community?
Well, you bring up an excellent point, and trust me when I say this, uh, that's what we should be doing, and we are doing it. I mentioned the Urban League. One of the things that we're most proud of is the partnership we had with Sadiqa Reynolds
Right,
and working with the Urban League, and we hope that we can keep that going under the new leadership.
right.
The other thing we're real proud of is working with Devon Holt at Goodwill, and
Goodwill.
some of the adult education facilities that he's trying to do, and some of the work that they're doing in West Louisville. We talk a lot about how we can help him and how he can help us. We've had Devon come talk to our staff about all the great things that Goodwill is doing,
Hmm.
and we are excited about an opportunity to partner with Mr. Uh, is it Reverend James that is Dare to Care?
Dare to Care.
Dare to
Vincent
Care.
James.
Vincent James, yes.
Right.
Uh, we're excited about partnering with him.
Okay. Okay.
We're excited about partnering with United Way and Adria Johnson. Uh, there's really this,
Andre Guest, Cleo Battle.
yes.
Um,
Actually, I just talked to Cleo right before New Year's, and we talked about how we need to share notes and get together. But to your point, we should be able to do it collectively and figure out, okay, what is sort of the strategic direction
right.
of Louisville, and how do we play a part in shaping that space for
Absolutely.
economic inclusion, for sustainability, for workforce development. A lot of the issues that we see in cities when they talk about crime, well, the biggest issue with crime, the strongest way to mitigate crime is to deal with poverty.
Right.
And if you can deal with poverty, and if you can create jobs and opportunity and education for that next generation, that's the way you fight crime. Not by building jails and not by adding
Yeah.
police and all of that. You have to show them a path of success and sustainability. And that's what I believe in. And that's why I think we are all blessed to be in the CEO roles that you mentioned, because our vision and our message can unite and really transform the city. Another good example is 2 years ago, under Mayor Fisher, he established a task force so entities could get together to talk about how we can build utilization of Black-owned businesses in our capital programs.
Right.
And we're 2 years into that program, and we have actually increased the utilization of Black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, but we got to sustain it. We got to sustain it. We're working with U of L. We're working with LG&E. We're working with the Louisville Water Company. We're working with TARC. We're working with the Transportation Cabinet with the state. And so all of us have common goals in terms of what can we do programmatically, what can we do from a policy perspective, and what we should be doing in terms of looking at disparity, historical disparity, and what type of goals should we set, mandatory goals for the utilization of Black-owned businesses in everything that we do, whether it be construction, goods and services, or professional services. That's another avenue to where we can help people grow businesses, but we can also grow the utilization of workforce in those areas on the private side.
So does that have a name?
It is called the Equity and Procurement Task Force.
Okay.
And I would love, we put out a quarterly report, and what I'll do is we'll put you on the list to receive the quarterly report.
Please. Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Great.
Because you see, I've got my nose in everything Louisvillian, and because I want like my show is a resource,
right?
To get the word out for people to know more and get to know who's running what, and what they envision for us, and how you're here to help us, because that's what we, Black folks gonna look at Black folks to help Black folks,
right?
So. And like I said, when you received your position, it was a hoot to me, because I'm saying, well, all right now, because I knew how massive MSD was,
right?
And then just over the last 3 years that we've seen month after month, especially after all the social unrest and the senseless death of Breonna. In this city, I don't know if everybody all of a sudden had a change of conscience, but to see all that, because every time there was a new CEO, I was, come over here. I knew Andre Guest. I had met him. I went to New York because I was pitching him something when he was at Lincoln Center, but one day I sat down and I started looking, and I'm saying, man, we got about 12 to 15, and I was really excited about that, because I'm saying, so we are somewhat in our own way, we have a lot to do with running the city. We're not the government. I was trying to work out so we could have had a Black mayor, but that didn't work out. It's okay. But you can't divide and conquer. That's that. Well, it is divide and conquer. So we let them divide and they conquered. So such is life. But that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you actually came to Louisville to be in a position over a major part of our infrastructure, and that's a big deal. And you've had to probably deal with the community, I know they gave you up one side and down the other, but you stayed the course, because this is the time where I wanted you to kind of explain what was what and why it was, and so they could get a better understanding. Because a lot of times when you're on TV and something happens and just a sound bite, it doesn't give an explanation.
Doesn't work. Right.
It's not enough. And
the other thing I wanted to stress is, we get a lot of comments about the rates, the charges, and and one of the things that we have is a senior discount program for folks that qualify for that. That gives them a 30% reduction in their sewer bill. We also have a emergency wastewater assistance program for those folks that qualify and they may be in arrears on their account. They can apply for that program, and they can also get a 30% discount. So we recognize that affordability, and there are some pockets of our community that need assistance. So we fund those programs every year.
Okay.
We are also working with the Biden administration. They have just now started a low income water assistance program, just like LIHEAP on the heating and electric.
Right, right.
And they funded it this year. I think Louisville received about $2.5 million for their initial program. We spent that money in about 90 days.
Okay.
So the need is there. And so we're lobbying the Biden administration to permanently fund a low income water assistance program and to make sure that it's funded at a level to where it's going to make a difference.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different things that we're working on to help our customers. When you couple that with the community benefits piece to where you're giving back to the community, and then when you couple that with workforce development to where you're providing jobs and career path, then you couple that with the growth and development of small businesses, Black-owned businesses, and women-owned businesses. That is the formula to sustain moving forward or transforming the city, and to make sure that we address this poverty issue. Poverty is the number one cause of crime.
Right.
But you got to have all of these things integrated together to make sure that you can make a difference in addressing crime in our city.
Well, I'm going to tell you the different programs that you mentioned that you all are involved in. That's very encouraging to me because that's progressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I look at that and say, just like you say, the sustainability of it all will help us to thrive.
Right.
And if we don't have a foundation, and your organization is somewhat that foundation that holds up everything else to make everything else work.
Right.
You know, so
we have a motto. We have a motto in the water industry. It's called "Water is life, and infrastructure makes it happen."
absolutely. Okay.
A lot of people don't understand that when we do these major infrastructure projects, we are actually creating jobs as well. When MSD does the projects,
Right.
We have a local labor utilization policy as well, to where our contractors must hire local labor.
Okay.
And with the large projects that we go on right now, we support approximately 2,300 jobs in our community. And it's going to be that way over the next 20 years with all the projects that we're doing. So we are happy that our board passed the ordinance or the policy to have local labor utilization, because we want to put local folks to work.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Kudos. Yes.
And I would also say, Ms. Miller, if you go to our website and you look at our board of directors, the MSD board is very diverse, and with the leadership that we have. And if you look at the executive team of Louisville, of MSD, we have a very diverse team of folks. And so we have a vision that is very progressive. We are intentional in what we're trying to accomplish. And we just need to make sure that we can find that next level or the next generation workforce to sustain what we're trying to do.
Sounds good. Sounds great. I'm tickled, you know, because I can see how those pieces that you have are working together and
Yes,
can
ma'am.
work together. And if everybody is, like you said, the commonality of it all with
Right.
you and the people that you're partnering with,
Right.
that's like after goodwill, what's next?
Right.
Because there needs to be something next, waiting to be,
Right.
you know, that we take on next after goodwill, because
Right.
there's a lot of work to be done, especially in the West.
Right.
Because as you know, since 1968, when the West got kind of destroyed,
Right.
or the things that happened, which I explained to him, it wasn't a riot, it was a interruption.
Right. Right.
But nothing ever got repaired.
Right.
And then everything just began to crumble.
Right.
You know, so and our kids don't have much hope.
Right.
And I hate to think that the kids think that they're going to die before they reach the age of 18. So to me, it seems like they're trying to make sure that if they think somebody's trying to take their life, then they go take somebody else's
Right.
life. Yeah,
Right.
there's another way to deal with all of this, and we can't get in the homes, but I think we can get as close as we can get
Mhm.
to some other programs that really are geared towards 17 to 25,
Right. I agree. I
because
agree.
they got the pistols. Even
Right.
though the young ones got them, but the older ones, they know
Right.
what they're doing with theirs. The young
Right.
ones just are this little wild in the head.
Right.
Mr. Parrott, I want to thank you so much for coming on and joining me. I know you had no idea what this was about.
No, I am honored, and I'd love to come back at some point,
Please.
and would love to talk to you more about how we can connect and be more cohesive as leaders of this city.
I'm going to maybe I have to set up a dinner for all of the CEOs and presidents so we can just network with each other.
Right. Right. That would be good.
Because there's a lot of, I'm quite sure outside of your positions and your jobs, there's other things that
Right.
are going on that you all could be a part of
Right.
to make something else happen that
Right.
may have to happen on the outside more so
Right.
than
Right.
within your, okay.
That's
So
correct.
maybe I have to just put something together at some point in time. I want to thank you for joining me
Thank
this
you.
evening. And it's dinner time, Mr. Parrott. Bon
And
appetit.
tell your husband I said hi.
I will. I will. You take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was Mr. Tony Parrott. Did you all hear what he said? Do you hear how things work and how things have to happen? And I know you got to look at, we're in a better place than we were. Progress is being made in our city. Our drinking water is still off the charts. I used to come home, I was drinking water out of the bottle in Las Vegas, and I came home and I just get a glass and go to the tap. But that hasn't changed, thank goodness. But their MSD is doing things, trying to make some things better for our community and making things better. Join in partnerships with other businesses. Urban League is doing great things. Goodwill is doing great things. Kentuckiana Works. I'm just I feel the progressive movement is in the air. You know what I mean? So we have to acknowledge the progress and not always complain, but always, if you've got a question, I'm quite sure you can always find a way to ask, and somebody might answer your question. Okay. Well, it's dinner time. Guess who's coming to dinner? Bon appetit. Want you to have a fantastic evening. This show will re-air on Friday at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Jantastic Productions Roku channel. Yes, we have our own Roku channel. So join us. Next Monday, we're going to have a young lady. She's out of Seattle, Washington. She's a girlfriend of mine that I met when I lived in Las Vegas. And she, along with Microsoft, have created an app for autistic children and deaf children to learn to speak through the app by using music. I can't wait. Her name is Bernadette Bascom, and she'll be here with us next Monday at 7 p.m. So until then, have a fantastic week. Be safe. Watch your surroundings. Senior citizens, lock your doors and your cars. And just be kind to one another. Can we try that? New Year, just be kind to one another. If you see somebody and your eyes connect, speak. Hello. Doesn't cost you a dime. Until then, ciao.